Half here. She had to take off in a hurry. Ernesta Suarez, the princess. Tell us what her situation is.
Ernesta had to climb the ladder. She's actually the head drum major, and she's leading the marching chiefs as we speak.
I tried to get her to hang around for some TV time, but she'd take no part in it. She's out there with the marching chiefs. Tell us where you're from and what your plans are at Florida State.
Okay, I'm a senior psychology major from Tampa, Florida. I hope to play in law school next year, possibly here. We'll see how it goes. I'm in the application process right now. So that's about it.
Well, this is certainly a nice feather in your cap, so to speak. Congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
The homecoming chief. Enjoy the rest of the homecoming.
Okay, thank you.
Scott Herman, our homecoming chief at homecoming 1998. It is halftime in Tallahassee. Florida State leading Clemson 24-zip the score. Back with second half action coming up after this.
Keith Jones.
Third of those touchdown passes came on this 12-yard fade route to Dugans. Does a great job of going up and coming down with the ball. The traditional underthrow in the red zone. Florida State's first touchdown pass came on a fly pattern, if it were, as you were to Coles. This is how you throw the fly pattern. You get it downfield 40 yards later. Laveranues brings it in.
And the connection of the game brought to you by Nokia.
Peter Warrick from 48 yards out, the classic matchup with Antoine Edwards. Good movement by Weinke in the pocket to get 3 in order to get the ball downfield to Pete. And then from 53 yards out, the Polish powder keg with that big left leg. Splits the uprights. Florida State on top of Clemson by 3 touchdowns and a field goal.
The numbers through one half of play. First downs lopsided in Florida State's favor. But there's what Bobby Bowden was talking about at the end of the first half. Negative 17 yards rushing.
Cheney with 7 carries, minus 4 yards. Coles with 3 carries, minus 3. You add on a sack against Weinke, and Florida State sitting at minus 17. Good effort by Weinke throwing the ball downfield. Of course, you see the 2 turnovers. Clemson had the first, led to Florida State's first score, which was the pass to Coles.
Clemson always has a problem when they turn the ball over. Their 2 wins, they did not commit a turnover, but they had 2 in the first half. You have a loose football in this booth right now. Someone's going to get to it. Linebacker Darrell Bush joins us, 3-time Butkus Award semifinalist, 3-time All-ACC. Between you and Keith, you know, I'm not going to even bring a football in here. How are you, Darrell?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good to have you up here.
It's good to be here. Good to be back in Tallahassee.
Always a special night. Homecoming, is it not?
Yeah, definitely. And anytime you can get a night game in Tallahassee, it's a different atmosphere. It's definitely exciting to be here on homecoming.
Janikowski will kick off for Florida State. 24-0 lead. Clemson will get the ball first in this second half of play. Big boot by Janikowski. Edwards, he'll just watch it sail through the end zone. One thing Keith and I were touching about the Florida State defense, so many changes being done in the linebacking core. Someone has to assume that leadership through one half of play. Who have you seen really do that?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm impressed with Tommy Pauly. He's coming in with some big hits, and Dion Humphrey's coming in with some big plays. It's good to see some of the guys that you're not used to seeing make the big plays come through for him, because with the rotations and all, you have to have some people step in and make the big plays, and it's good to see some of those guys stepping up, especially in some of their senior years.
3 wide receivers are in for Clemson. First pass by Streeter is complete. His 7th completion as he hits Marcus Martin with the pass. Sean McCorkle with the tackle.
Martin is 6'3", 202 pounds. He was a high school quarterback now in his sophomore year, second year of the wide receiver. Tied for the team lead with 14 catches. Catches a simple slant route. Clemson second and very, very short.
And Clemson just doesn't throw the ball, Keith, and that they're averaging less than 3 receptions a game are the wide receivers. Javis Austin, he gets knocked down behind the line of scrimmage. No chance for the first down. Jerry Johnson, one of the players there for Florida State, and Corey Simon.
River, 872.
Another tackle for loss for Johnson.
As we've said all throughout the season almost, with Johnson and Simon and Larry Smith now that he's back from that ankle injury. They're in the defensive tackle nose guard positions. Florida State getting excellent play. That play no exception.
Just 1 of 8 on third downs is Clemson. This is a 3rd and 2. Has to get to the 30-yard line. Do the Tigers. Big pressure up for grabs and incomplete. It's McCorkle on the coverage of Martin. Once again, Keith, Clemson gets 9 yards on first down and still can't get it to another 3 and out. Can't get the first down. Good job by the Florida State defense.
Aired on for his 8th punt of the night. 7 in the first half. And again, Florida State with an opportunity, depending on what the call is from coordinator Mickey Andrews, pressure or lay back and punt return, giving Warrick an opportunity to move the ball.
McCorkle with the coverage. Temper the shoulder separation, the left shoulder. Last week, Reggie Durden is deep on this punt by Laird. Durden from the 36 along the far sideline will cut back, and he just gets tripped up. A lot of running room on the near side, but Harold Means, number 45 for Clemson, just able to trip up Reggie.
We knew we'd see Pete back there, and now we're seeing Durden. D. Feaster, of course, out for the 1-game suspension.
Florida State will get the ball 1st and 10. It's first possession in the second half. The Seminoles lead 24-0.
Is this your idea of conserving energy? This is ours. For energy conservation programs, call 1-888-TICO-820.
Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare.
We're here at the Summerbrook Golf Course practicing for the March of Dimes second annual golf tournament presented by the Greenberg Treurig Law Firm.
Along with NBC News 40, we're helping to raise money for the March of Dimes.
Thousands of babies are born with birth defects every year in this country.
The March of Dimes, along with your help, can continue to improve the health of America's children.
So join us here at Summerbrook on October 23rd.
For the March of Dimes second annual Golf Classic.
Call 422-3152.
And with a hole-in-one, you could win a new car. Keep practicing, Reggie.
Florida State with a 24-0 lead on Clemson. Seminoles will get the ball for the first time in this second half of play. 3 and out by the Florida State defense. Now Chris Weinke will take the offense to the line. Andrew Monaco, Keith Jones, Darrell Bush up here in the booth. Tom Block along the sidelines. One thing we've seen, Darrell, so far in that first half is that these Clemson linebackers, that's a good linebacking crew.
Yeah, they've got a tremendous amount of speed. Last year they lost a good linebacker in Simmons, and he's doing well in the pros, but they've definitely reloaded, and you can see in our rushing attack that they've been effective.
They have stopped Florida State. It's been minus 17 yards through one half of play. Weinke takes Florida State to the line. First series for the Seminoles, leading 24-0. Handoff to Cheney. A little bit of move at the line of scrimmage, and he dances and gets some positive yards. O.J. Childress, number 56, on the tackle for Clemson. Keith, the way Bobby Bowden talked at the end of the half, looks like he may. You talked about the balance. I think he might try to get this running game established.
Certainly when you go into halftime and you're down minus 17 yards rushing, that's going to be a focal point, the focus of your attention. Florida State coming out in the third quarter, if they're going to establish the running game, they've got to do it now, because you allow Clemson to get back into their mold of thing, you're going to be throwing the ball up and to fit down the field the rest of this quarter and the fourth.
3 wides in for Florida State. The inside handoff to Cheney. Cheney getting near the first down before he's taken down. 5-yard gain for Cheney. That's the longest gain of the night for Jeff Cheney. It'll set up a 3rd and shorts. Adrian Dingle, number 52, on the tackle for Clemson.
There are often times when you go in at halftime as a linebacker, you come back out, the offense will change the scheme. Instead of the guard coming at you to be a tackle, instead of the center double teaming, he'll leave you alone and loop. We see similar things like that with Florida State, of course.
Definitely, and they're making some adjustments, and I know Coach Bowden never feels like he's truly successful unless he's able to run the ball, and you see that he's trying to do that this half.
Sets up a 3rd and a long 4. Weinke looking downfield, complete. First down and more to Minnis. Minnis at the 40-yard line before he's taken down. Another completion for Weinke. Alex Ardley on the tackle, but not before Florida State marches right back into Clemson territory.
When you're effective in the running game, you're also able to open up those short curls like that also.
3-step drop out of the shotgun for Weinke. Slap pattern, little curl-in pattern actually to Menace. Clemson in zone coverage. He settles in between the two linebackers, converts the third down. Both Dugans and Menace, Andrew, Darrell, they'll go across the middle and get the ball. We hear about Pete going deep, but these two guys will catch the ball over the middle quite easy.
3 wide receivers remain in for Florida State. Again, the inside handoff to Chaney. A big hole for Jeff. Jeff, he's going to go into the end zone. A 41-yard rushing touchdown for Jeff Chaney. That's how you get the running game going.
Just as Darrell was talking about, one of the little things that happens at halftime is it may just be one guy making a tackle. So you change one little thing on the offensive line, that'll spring a back through a wide open hole as Chaney did there from 41 yards out. And those are the little adjustments, Darrell, that this coaching staff is so grateful for.
Yeah, and it really pleases the coaches when you're able to make adjustments like that and come out in the first possession of the second half and score a touchdown and get your running game effective.
Janikowski kicks the extra point through, but a flag flies as Janikowski was booting that extra point. 41-yard touchdown run. It is Florida State's longest run of the season. And Jeff Chaney finds the end zone for the 4th time this year.
Start on the offense.
A false start against Florida State. They'll back FSU up 5 yards, and Sebastian will do it again. Of course, Chaney seeing the bulk of his playing time as we've developed throughout the broadcast, because Travis Minor could go tonight, but they wanted to hold him out. D. Feaster's been suspended. We have not seen Raymont Skaggs yet, but we have seen Laveranues Coles spelling Jeff from the tailback position.
Janikowski again on the extra points, 5 yards deeper, no problem whatsoever. Florida State caps its first drive of the second half, a 41-yard touchdown run by Jeff Chaney, and the Seminoles have a 31-0 lead on Clemson. The inside handoff to Chaney, and he was gone for 41 yards.
Great move downfield to split the safety. Edwards unable to close the gap and get close enough to make the tackle. Number 1 there for Clemson. Chaney scores the longest rushing touchdown for FSU this season. 41 yards out. Gets back into positive yardage. You see 4 plays on 64 yards. All 3 of those came on running plays to 1 pass.
Said he was going to put the contact lenses in. Now, it was to see the ball better receiving, but we saw that hole, went right through it. A 41-yard touchdown run for Chaney. We mentioned his 4th touchdown of the year, 31-0. Florida State leads Clemson. If Clemson didn't have a big enough hole to dig out of here in the second half, that's just huge, Darrell.
Yeah, that's tough for a defense to give up that many points, and then for an offense to get out there and try to create a spark. It's good when your defense helps you out a little bit, and when you get the running game going and you're able to put points on the board, especially away from home, it puts the offense in a deep hole.
Janikowski will kick off for Florida State. Now with a 31-0 lead here on homecoming. Janikowski's got the go-ahead. And again, a deep kick by Janikowski through the end zone, a touchback. Clemson will start from the 20-yard line.
Really helps the defense out when you can start every possession on the 20-yard line. Your percentages are in your favor.
Darrell, talk a little bit about Chuck Amata and Jim Gladden to the degree he's involved with the defense. This coaching staff does a phenomenal job with you guys.
Oh, they definitely do, and it's an attacking style defense, and it's one that's fun to play for. Those guys up front really, as a linebacker, help us out. It's just like an offensive line to a quarterback. You know, if they get a good push inside, and the defensive ends have been so good for us, it really helps the defense out, and you can really create some big plays.
Clemson with 4 wide receivers down 31-0. Incomplete pass may have been deflected before it got to Brian Walford.
Brian Allen, number 55, out of the middle linebacker position. Andrew Darrell, he had a bead on that one. Had that ball been down about another foot, Brian had 6 in his eyes and a lot of green in front of him. Watch him move here from the left-hand side of your screen. He's going to read that, get right up, and had it been down just another couple of feet, Brian was right on it.
So yeah, that's the one that linebackers dream about, and if it was a little bit lower, I guarantee he would have sweet dreams tonight.
2nd and 10 after the incomplete pass. 2 backs behind. Streeter goes back under center, and the pitch to the outside is Austin. Austin is taken down at the 24-yard line. Mario Edwards on the tackle.
Third or fourth time tonight we've seen the corners or a safety do a good job in the open field against this option attack by Clemson. This is a naked option. It's just the quarterback and the tailback. Good pressure forces the pitch, and Mario Edwards comes up, never really loses containment, does a good job of just making sure he makes the tackle in the open field and forcing Clemson into a 3rd down situation.
Bring up a 3rd and 5 for the Tigers from the 25-yard line. 3 wide receivers to the top side for the Tigers. Streeter's pass drops and incomplete. Another 3 and out. Martin dropped the ball for Clemson, and the Tigers are forced to punt once again.
I'd say when you're faced with a team that presents the option to you, you hate it as a defensive player because you know in practice you're going to have a period that's specifically designed to stop the option, and you have to be disciplined when you're doing it. And I know as a defensive player, I never liked a team that had an option in their arsenal.
Marcus Outson warming up. Clemson now just 1 for 10 on 3rd down. You never want to see your punter on this often, and that's the problem with Clemson. Kevin Laird again to punt. Reggie Durden will field inside the 30. Durden, flag flies, gets to the outside, gets across midfield, does Durden, and knocked out of bounds inside the 40. Actually stayed in and gets to the 39-yard line. Remember, a couple flags flew on the return.
Either illegal use of hands or blocking the back. That's one of the things that is the most frequent call on a punt return. Durden seeing some playing time. Pete Warrick going punt returns the first half. Now Reggie getting his opportunity.
You know it's on Florida State when Durden returned it to the 39 across midfield, but the offense comes in at their own 30-yard line. They have a feeling.
That's the type of penalty that the defensive coaches hate. Especially Mickey Andrews and Coach Amato. They spend so much time on special teams, and to have a penalty like that could have been avoided, a block in the back or illegal block, it really frustrates the defensive coaches.
You got 2 of them here, folks. There's one of them. The other one, I think, is a little bit to the left out of our screen. Good movement by Durden. He tiptoes down the sidelines, actually runs into Mario Edwards, and then is tackled without going out of bounds. All for naught.
Edwards get credit for anything there?
Getting in the way.
It was a good effort. I think he was trying to help him out there. He checked the scoreboard first.
Fouls during the return, an illegal block in the back by the return team. That penalty is refused. We have a holding foul, a post-scrimmage kick foul, penalized 10 yards from the end of the kick.
Penalty.
That's a 1st down.
First force Florida State to start 1st and 10 inside the 20.
One of the few times that Florida State has been backed up like this, starting from the 18-yard line. Instead of across midfield at the 39, Florida State will start the drive from the 18-yard line. The numbers for Chris Weinke. 7 consecutive games over 200 yards. The only quarterback in the ACC to do that this season. Again, another 3 touchdown passes for Chris.
This has now gone, 140, 145 attempts without an interception after the 6 interceptions against NC State.
I'm glad you did the math on that.
Well, I hedged, and I gave you a range.
Darrell Bush, talk about this rivalry with Clemson. Clemson is down. There's no mistake to that, but it's still always a special matchup on the schedule, is it not?
Yeah, it is a good matchup for us. Especially when we play them in their territory, because Death Valley is such a tough stadium to go in and try to play at. We've had the upper hand when we come here at Joe Campbell. It helps under the lights. You get that special atmosphere during the night games, but this team always plays us tough. They're a physical football team. They like running the ball on you, and they try to establish that dominance, and it's always a physical football game for us.
Their offense is also becoming very multifaceted with the option attack and that type of thing, which lends, as you mentioned already earlier, this whole set of opportunities and threats.
Don't miss the Bobby Bowden Show, Sundays at 12:30 p.m. right here on Sunshine. Okay. Join Coach Bowden as he reviews each week's game and looks ahead at the Noles' upcoming opponents. The Bobby Bowden Show, Sundays at 12:30 on Sunshine Network. First and 10 for Florida State from the 18-yard line. I'm going to tell my Weinke story. When I was in minor league baseball, I saw him play for the Knoxville Blue Jays when he was in the Blue Jays organization. Good first baseman, good range, and just so much power from that left side. Big blitz upcoming from Clemson, and they get Weinke. And Florida State loses the football. Clemson picks it up in the best field position for Clemson, Adrian Dingle. The 9th sack to lead the ACC. Anything for Clemson right now is good news, and that's great news for the Tigers.
Pressure from the right-hand side. Weinke's backside just does a good speed rush, and the ball actually just comes right down into his belly. Clemson's all set to go. 1st and 10 at the 11-yard line. Another look at it here. Comes right out of Chris's hands, lands right on the chest of Dingle. He's able to recover it.
So a test now for the Florida State defense, as Dingle picks up his 9th sack. In 5th place all alone, career sacks, 21.5 in his career at Clemson. Streeter to the up back, Witherspoon. If he gets a yard, he earned it. Jerry Johnson, one of the initial tacklers. Those are the sack leaders at Clemson. Dingle's the only one. Doesn't have NFL experience there. Something tells me that's going to change. All 5 will be in the NFL.
Daryl, talk a minute about defensive mindset when the ball's turned over inside your 20.
I'll tell you, we do a good job in practice simulating the goal line stands, and when they get into the red zone, the attitude really picks up, and I think I wouldn't be surprised to see some of the best defensive football played for us tonight.
3 wide receivers to the near side. Streeter back in the shotgun. Wofford with the catch, and he's down at the 7-yard line. Troy Saunders didn't get the tackle, but he got the initial hit.
You can see how they're all swarming and feeding off of the energy of each other, and it's an attitude that's developed during the practice.
How important is discipline, especially inside the 20, when the offense has kind of got the upper hand?
Yeah, the discipline is just critical, and you know, Mickey Andrews doesn't like to give up anything, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown, and he definitely stresses the importance of being disciplined down here, because you don't want to give up a cheap touchdown.
The 80,000 strong, they rise to their feet. Clemson can get a first down at the 1. Streeter going towards the end zone. Incomplete. Tay Cody on the coverage.
Cody matched up one-on-one against Brian Wofford from Clemson. Streeter out of the shotgun, quick little step, and then he's throwing the fade pattern. Cody with good position. Wofford only gets his right hand on it, unable to get the other one up to make the catch. That's one of those passes, guys, that has to be perfectly thrown. Clemson's going to go for it on 4th down.
It is 4-down territory for the Tigers, down 31-0. 3 wide receivers are in for Streeter from the shotgun. Quick hit. Incomplete, and Florida State takes over on downs. Big hit by Sean Key.
Describe what these players are feeling right now, Daryl.
Well, it's very emotional. I'll tell you, this is what football is all about, and defensive football here is special because of that goal line attitude that you learn, throughout your years here. And when you come away and you put the ball back in the offense's hands, and you have the opportunity to take a big part in keeping them off the scoreboard. Around here, shutouts are a big deal, and it's something that are talked about a lot.
We focus so much on Clemson's defense. How about Florida State's defense? What a stand there, allowing just 4 yards. Florida State takes over at the 7. Weinke back to pass. He's looking downfield, looking for Coles. Overthrows Coles. Flag flies. Alex Ardley. Been a long night for the Clemson cornerback.
Most likely that'll go against the defense, Andrew, but that's one of those that can go either way. Both Coles and Ardley were running side by side, and both of them are going to get their hands involved in moving downfield, and that is probably the worst of the judgment calls that referees have to make. Ardley, I think that time will be flagged for it. It'll be moving on the left-hand side of your screen. They're going to be jockeying with each other. Watch the hand action. See there? Coles on the right, Ardley with his left hand. That can go either way, and in the eyes of the official, that time it was against Ardley. 15 yards, automatic first down. Florida State's outside of the 20.
Takes Florida State outside of the shadow of their own end zone as well. So the penalty gives Florida State another first down, the 15th of the game for the Seminoles. Weinke. Complete to Morgan, his second catch of the game. To the 35-yard line, hardly with the tackle.
There's a little bit of the rhythm I was talking about in the first half, where you step and get under center, you drop back, you step, you throw, you catch, you get back into the huddle, away you go.
Another first down for Florida State to Tom Block. Tom?
Andrew, you know, Coach Bowden, the two things he stressed at halftime to the team. One, he wanted to see him to run the ball better. We already saw that from Jeff Chaney. Second thing is he told the defense to keep fighting for that shutout. He really wanted to see that. They came up with that big goal line stand that you were just talking about. So obviously, so far anyway, they listened to what the coach had to say at the half. Andrew?
Thank you, Tom. Always important to listen to Bobby.
Always. You don't question the head man.
And you really can't question his success either, because it has just been fabulous here. We touched off the top. He's never lost on homecoming here, but 213 wins on the Florida State sidelines. That is just brilliance.
It is, and these guys are trying to live up to a big tradition also, because I don't think there's been a loss here in about 5 years in the Stadium. So they've definitely got that pressure on their shoulders.
The numbers for Weinke this evening, now 243 yards on 14 completions, and those 3 touchdown passes, all in the first half. Reverse. To the near sideline is Warrick. Warrick dancing up towards midfield, but then he is taken down. Raheem Abdullah for Clemson.
You know you've got a number of reverses in your repertoire when you can pitch the ball and the tailback hands it off. You can pretend to go down the line and pitch it from the quarterback. You can fake to the fullback and pitch it to the wide receiver coming around. I mean, there's about 8 different variations that Coach Bowden and offensive coordinator Mark Richt have. And, of course, they want to get the ball in number 9's hands just as many times as they can.
I'm dizzy from all those choices.
Our offensive coaches have a good dilemma. They've got so many guys, I'm not sure who to get it to first.
Well, without Peter Warrick last year at Death Valley, Florida State would not have escaped with the 35-28 win. Complete pass to Dugans. Dugans inside the 40-yard line before he is taken out of bounds by Dexter Polite. The first time we've called Polite's name this evening.
Polite has been very polite and been quiet, no doubt about it. And again, you see Florida State in that rhythm, Andrew, where they're getting the play in, they're getting in the huddle, they're getting out. Weinke's taking the nice play-action drop, throwing the ball, get out of bounds, get back, get up to the line, etc. And as Darryl, as you'll know often, defense goes in and makes a stand. That really infuses the offense with some energy as well.
No, it really does. That gives them something to feed off of.
Freshman Atruz Bell is in at wide receiver. Instead, a handoff to Jeff Chaney, avoids a tackle. Heads back to the far side of the field, inside the 30 is Chaney. Abdullah again with the tackle for Clemson. A little escapability, to use that word, by Jeff Chaney.
Chaney works so well between the tackles and then has that ability and that acceleration once he gets into the open field. You'll see him right here. This play is obviously designed to go just off left tackle. Fullback goes up, makes a block, but somebody from the backside wasn't sealed off. Chaney does a 360 and goes back the other way and picks up 10 or 12 when he could have lost 2 or 3.
The numbers for Chaney, he was in negative yards at the end of the first half. Chance for more yards for Chaney on the handoff across the 25 to the 24-yard line.
Chaney's got a great feel for not continuing to run to the sideline. When he has a chance, he has a crease, he plants and he turns upfield, and that kills the defense, because even though you stop him, you get 1 or 2 yards. And a lot of backs will just continue to spread, and the defense loves that, because you just push him to the boundary and he ends up not getting any yardage.
And we saw a good example of that earlier, not picking on Laveranues, but he's just now back in the tailback position a couple of times in the first half. When he got the ball, he's still going east and west.
Clemson's down. Florida State has the Tigers 31-0 here in the third.
University would like to recognize the board of directors of Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare.
We are family. I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, and sing. We are family. I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up, everybody.
Hi, I'm Doug Marlette, and I've got a secret. It's nestled among rolling hills and towering pines, where Gothic archways for nearly a century and a half have welcomed young minds. It's where the spirit of service is measured against the spirit of history's heroes. And graduates go on to become governors, astronauts, and even Pulitzer Prize-winning cartoonists. This is Florida State University, my secret to success.
31-0 Florida State. Andrew Monaco along with Keith Jones, Darrell Bush up here in the booth, Tom Block downstairs. On a 2nd and 7, Weinke's pass in and out of the hands and incomplete. Again, that quick strike, Atru's Bell. In and out of his hands, and as he heads back, I fall.
Atru's finally getting the opportunity for some playing time. That's one quick way Coach Jeff Bowden will get you back off the field, as we see happen. Once you get the opportunity, that ball gets near you, Atru's, you've got to latch onto it.
Fullback William McCray comes on for Florida State. Two wide receivers to the near side, Coles up top. On a 3rd and 7, Florida State has to get to the 17. It'll be a 3rd and 12. Procedure penalty upcoming on Florida State.
There is no foul. The timeout was called. Offense.
Weinke did get the timeout in time, so there will be no penalty on Florida State. Chris Weinke calls time, heads to the sidelines, come up with a 3rd down play when we return to Doak Campbell Stadium.
You know what kills me? You're in the middle of a game, real dogfight, and then some ref blows his whistle because he thinks he sees a late hit. Or interference, yeah, or a chop block. Blowing the whistle all the time like they know the game. Ooh, one time, I'll tell you, I'd like to shove that whip.
Looks like there's too many men on the field.
Hardcore football, Tuesday on Sunshine.
Personal foul!
121.
In what may be one of the most
the short handoff.
famous plays in all of college football.
Leroy Butler's got a long way to go to the 40. Leroy Butler to the 50. Leroy Butler to the 40 to the 30. Leroy Butler to the 20. Leroy to the 10. Leroy Butler knocked out of bounds at the 4-yard line. What a play by the Seminoles. Some razzle-dazzle. A minute 20 to go. And
the 10th anniversary of the Punt Rooski Death Valley 21-21 game with a minute and a half left. Richie Andrews would kick the field goal. Sloppy field. What a win. What a play.
Wasn't on the field in that game, but I was sitting in the stands. I had gotten completely soaked for about a half, the first half. The sun came out in the second half, but the field was sloppy, and Reggie Herring there, defensive coordinator for Clemson, looking on as Florida State's forced to take a field goal attempt.
The incomplete pass sets up 4th down and a 42-yard field goal attempt by Janikowski. Boy, when 53 was long enough, 42 is no problem. The nation's best field goal kicker. 2nd field goal of the night. Sebastian Janikowski gives Florida State a 34-0 lead with a 42-yard field goal.
Good blocking up front. One of the things Janikowski does so well on these longer field goals is he still gets the ball up in the air. And Darrell, you know, as a linebacker, the farther the ball back, the more the opportunity for those back people to come and jump up and actually get hands on the ball.
Yeah, and a lot of the times it's so low that even one of the front guys can get their hand on it. So he has so much power in his leg, and he gets the ball, follows through so well on the ball. It gets up there where not a lot of people can get their hands on it.
Janikowski now 4 of 5 from that range, 40 to 49 yards, and it's a 34-0 Florida State lead on Clemson. Darrell, we'd be remiss. We haven't asked you, how you doing health-wise? How's everything?
Doing pretty good. I had a surgery about 3 weeks ago on my knee. I was with the St. Louis Rams, and in the second preseason game against the San Diego Chargers, I hurt it again. And so really doing the rehab again right now, and a little frustrating, but you know it's part of the game. You can't play in the trenches that long and not have some nicks and injuries. So dealing with that right now, but everything's going great.
And Bobby Bowden here to Dick Vermeil in St. Louis, huh?
Yeah, not too different on the coaching philosophy. They both like to work their players.
The drive for the Florida State Seminoles capped off by the 42-yard field goal, 69-yard drive. In 9 plays, took just over 3 minutes. And Florida State now with 10 points in the second half and a 34-0 lead on Clemson. Real quickly, biggest difference between college and pro that we've experienced.
It's really the mental side of the game. They spend so much time, whereas in college you spend time in the classroom. Their classroom is studying football, and it's film work and it's playbooks, and really the mental side of the game is a big edge up there. If you make one mistake, one false read, one false step, you're in trouble.
Janikowski low, and it's hooked. Doesn't make it into the end zone. Goes out at the 6, and Clemson will get the ball at the 35-yard line. How about the speed of the game in the NFL?
Well, I'll tell you, it's been a big advantage for me playing at Florida State, playing against teams like Florida and Miami over the years, because you see a lot of speed, a lot of team speed, and the coaching is very well at this level. So really the speed wasn't that much of a difference for me. Really it was the mental speed. If I made a misread or I was unsure of my assignment, right away someone was on me to block me. And that's something you have to spend time in your playbook. You really have to take it seriously if you're going to compete at that level.
Clemson gets the ball 1st and 10 from the 35-yard line. Down 34-0. Streeter back under center. Still 3 wide receivers. The pitch.
Go, Diamond.
Gain of 4 for Clemson tailback Diamond Adams. David Warren with the tackle, number 99 for Florida State.
Good to see Warren back there on the field, as we've talked about in the first half. Suffered a mild seizure during preseason camp, and then had if you will, a relapse on the plane coming back from Miami. They can't find anything wrong. It seems to be one of those mysterious types of things, but he continues to participate and continues to contribute.
Streeter in the shotgun. 42 yards through the air for Streeter. He'll pick up some more yards as Brian Wofford with the completion of 1st down across the 45 to the 47-yard line.
Wofford with 54 career receptions coming into tonight's contest. Had caught a pass in 30 consecutive games, or actually played in 30 consecutive games, had Wofford. Again, we've seen it for the 2nd or 3rd time, that little flanker under screen, trying to get the ball into the middle of the field and then turn it up and finding a seam.
Wofford will watch the 1st and 10 from the 47-yard line. Handoff to the second back through, and man, it's just a punishing Florida State defense. Again, Adams, the junior, with his 2nd carry of the game. Deion Humphrey, he's been around the football all game.
In that play, I think they anticipated Deion to be walked out on the slot like he's been all night, and he cheated in just at the last second before the snap and got away with one.
Senior out of Lake Worth, Deion Humphrey. Humphrey was heading to the sidelines. Now he's back in, replacing Troy Saunders. And Brandon Streeter, as he comes up to the line of scrimmage, there were just 2 seconds left on the play clock, and he calls timeout. He burns a timeout and heads to the sidelines, where he will talk with Tommy West. 5th full season at Clemson is West. Has a winning record with the Tigers at 30-24. It's been a long year for Tommy.
They trace back. They call this the offense with the 3 wideouts at Clemson, the 95 offense, patterned after the 95 season. It originated, Andrew and Darrell, when West was at Tennessee in 1990. And, of course, the 90s brought on here at Florida State. And then with Charlie coming on, the wide-open offenses, it really makes for exciting football.
Back downstairs, Tom Block.
Andrew, we've talked about some of the Clemson-Florida State connections like Reggie Herring and Rick Stockstill. There's another one, though. The trainer for Clemson, head trainer for the last 40 years, Fred Hoover. He's 68 years old. He announced that this will be his last season. He actually was a trainer at Florida State for 2 years in the 50s, a graduate of FSU. Hasn't missed a Clemson game in well over 400 games. He returns to Tallahassee tonight. This will be his last trip as he's retiring after this year. Andrew?
Thank you, Tom. How about this? 38 All-Americans, 16 NFL All-Pros, 4,500 practices for Fred Hoover. He was hired by the legendary Frank Howard at Clemson, and after 40 years, he retires. It's his last visit on the Clemson sidelines here at Doak Campbell Stadium. Pass is complete to the outside and ridden out of bounds right at midfield. Wofford with the catch. Mario Edwards with the tackle.
Pass is complete to number 20.
Walford has really performed well this year. Didn't have that many catches, but he's averaging a little over 19 yards each time he touches the football. And prior to the night, Clemson had done a good job of getting the ball in his hands in the open field. But this Florida State defense, as Tommy West looks on, has been quite smothering this evening.
They've allowed just 3 first downs this entire game. 3rd and 7. This one's up for grabs. Incomplete. Again, Tay Cody with the coverage. Clemson tried him time and again in the second half, and Cody's been up to the challenge.
Oh, he has. He's doing a tremendous job on the outside. You're really on an island out there when you're in man coverage, and that's the second big play he's come up with, the other one being the one in the end zone.
And the key to it, Darryl, as you well know, is you've got to run with that receiver, watching him. Watch Cody watch the eyes of the receiver, Walford, the receiver. As soon as his eyes widen, you've got to get your head back and find the football.
You really have to have great control of your body. You have to know where the receiver is and where you're at and where your boundary's at.
Very high short kick. Got to know where the football is here. Bounces backwards. Javis Austin, Kevin Laird. Terrible punt by the Clemson punter. Doesn't even get 25 yards on that punt, and Florida State will have excellent field position. It will be a 21-yard punt for Laird. Straight up in the air and then bounced backwards. It'll give Florida State the ball just across the 39-yard line.
Some are faithful, and then some are a little crazy. Fortunately, they're more faithful than the crazy.
Why do you look at me when you say that?
I was glancing past Darryl. That's what I was doing. We'd often talk about, at the professional level, the eyes of Mike Singletary. One of the things that was most notable about Darryl during his times at Florida State is he was fairly intense. I mean, it was no nonsense once you step inside the white lines.
Well, I'd like to think that I was brought up the right way. I learned that intensity was definitely a part of the position, and it made it fun.
Andrew, you mentioned too about all the all ACC folks. 40 Florida State folk in the pros this year, with Casey Weldon being picked up by the Redskins and now Scott Bentley picked up by the Denver Broncos. And you keep in contact with some of those guys.
Oh, definitely. And it was fun to be at some of the preseason games and go across the field and shake hands with some of my former teammates once the games were over.
Skaggs is the tailback, faked by Weinke. He's looking downfield. Weinke looking for Laveranues Coles, but it's incomplete.
It's a good thing Laveranues played a little defense on that play.
Chris was looking at him the entire way, and double coverage to the outside. And this is one that when they look at the tape, Mark will tell him he shouldn't have thrown. A little bit of a duck. Laveranues comes back, and as Darryl mentions, becomes the equivalent of a defensive player.
DeMarco Fox on the coverage for Clemson. 2nd and 10. Officially the 40-yard line for Florida State. Weinke will go from the shotgun. Fake the inside handoff. The reverse to Coles. Coles to the near side. Across midfield, he has a first down and ridden out of bounds. Darryl Crutchfield with the tackle for Clemson. Not before Coles picks up 13 yards on the reverse.
Coles with outstanding speed. But Crutchfield had a little bit of an angle and some speed of his own. Laveranues, of course, broke his ankle in the Garnet and Gold game. Did not require surgery, I don't believe, but rehabbed it, came back strong in preseason, and is back in the form. Crutchfield with a good angle runs him out of bounds.
Whole lot of running from one side of the field to the other. Skaggs caught behind the line of scrimmage, but second effort, he'll pick up 2. Is that what you talk about, that second effort that can be a little demoralizing for the defense?
Well, it can be, especially when you make contact in the backfield. When you have someone wrapping them up, the missed tackles can kill you because those yards add up over time.
Instead of having a 2nd and 10, now it's a 2nd and 8, and get closer to that first down marker.
And one of the things, of course, is characteristic of both of these defenses is you're going to get hit 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
You may get a missed tackle, but there's going to be somebody following up.
2 very aggressive defenses. 2nd and 8. Weinke looking to the right side. Oh, what a catch by Warrick on Antoine Edwards. It looked like Edwards was have the interception, but Warrick, what body control and what a reception by Peter.
When Weinke let go of that ball, I thought to myself, here comes an interception, because I saw the number 1. Watch Warrick go right over his back acrobatically and bring that ball in. That's one of the things that Pete is just so routine about, is the spectacular catch. Grabs it right off of the left shoulder of Edwards. Remarkable reception.
I think Edwards was thinking the same thing. I think he was expecting the interception and never got it. Skaggs to the right side. He's ridden down at the 27-yard line. Harold Means is there. So is inside linebacker Chris Jones.
Warrick decided that he wasn't going to play defense on that one. He went ahead and caught it. So that's the kind of big plays I know as a quarterback you're thankful for.
That's even after you look at it again, you're going, how did he do that? But that is just great body control, not only on his feet, but there, going right in front of Edwards.
Darryl, you saw him all last year and the year prior. You didn't have to go against him in one-on-one drills, but it must be remarkable to watch.
I'll tell you, he does have such control over his body and such speed, and I really don't know how a defense game plans against him.
Weinke over the middle. He's got Minnis, and Minnis gets to the 16-yard line. Another first down for Florida State. Carswell with the tackle. Number 9 for Clemson.
Andrew, we talked about in the first half the rhythm, Florida State gaining it in the third quarter, and it came off of the 4-and-out stand by the defense in their own red zone. Florida State now a little bit of rhythm on the offensive side. Weinke in and out of the huddle, dropping well, throwing well, catching well.
I'd be willing to bet that when they look at film, this weekend, they're gonna point to that goal line stand as probably the biggest series of the game defensively.
First downs lopsided in Florida State's favor. 23-3. Weinke dances. Has some room on the right side. He'll tuck the ball and run, and he's out of bounds at the 15-yard line.
That was designed to be a screen to the left-hand side. Clemson did a great job of keeping offensive linemen from getting out and, of course, wrapping up the would-be receiver. Weinke sprinted out to the right-hand side, was trying to find somebody crossing over. No one picked it up. He alertly ran it out of bounds and regrouped.
That's the kind of play you usually get caught for a lineman downfield, because they expect the running back behind him to have the ball, but they stayed pretty disciplined when they realized they didn't have the ball and stayed back.
Saw Weinke pointing, trying to get someone to break free and come across. No one there. He runs out of bounds.
2nd and 9. Weinke into the end zone. Touchdown, Florida State! Minnis with the touchdown reception. A career-high 4 touchdown passes for Weinke, and he's hit 4 different receivers.
As we talked about in the opening, you've got Dugans and Warrick and Minnis, and you've got Laveranues Coles. You've got the opportunity to get the ball vertical and get it downfield, and we see Weinke's 4th touchdown pass to the 4th different wide receiver. Out pattern, as we've seen Peter Warrick run so many times, this time Snoop Minnis. Great throw, great catch.
With Snoop heading to the sideline like that, it takes a strong arm to get the ball out there, and I think he definitely displayed that.
Minnis with the touchdown, his 2nd of the season. 15-yard touchdown pass from Chris Weinke. Florida State has opened up a 41-0 lead on Clemson.
Another look at it. That's a long throw, Darryl. You've got to be able to have a lot of arm strength to get that ball that many yards in the air.
It's a very long throw, and defensively, when you're setting up your zones, you kind of count that the quarterback can't get those flat zones that far out. But when you have a quarterback like Weinke that has that arm strength, he can get out there and really pick a defense apart.
We touched upon it. Wide receiving core of Florida State's. Those averages. We talked about Clemson going to the 3 wide receiver set. Not a lot of catches, not a lot of yards. That's how dangerous the Florida State receivers are.
Plus, you're seeing Florida State getting into the meat of the fast break offense. They're not doing it no huddle. Right. They're still doing it out of the shotgun, mixing in the eye with the play action, but still going to 3 or 4 wideouts and get the ball vertical.
Florida State is sort of the opposite of most teams, because they'll spread the field and throw the short hitches to set up the run. Usually teams run the ball to set up the pass, and Florida State is effective by running the ball out of the shotgun formation and 3 wide formations.
Weinke with 4 touchdown passes.
Unofficially, his 2nd career 300-plus yardage day.
302 yards. Genius. You are a genius over there.
Because Daryl's up here. We got the smart people up here now.
I've got my calculator with me.
I'm telling you, these defenders, they just... You guys are too much. Band together. Now 148 attempts by Weinke without an interception. This one will be returned. This kickoff by Javis Austin, a couple of yards deep in the end zone, and he is just hammered at the 15-yard line.
Flag comes out. I think they're going to get backed up about 5 more.
Todd Fryer, one of the tacklers. Ben Waldrop is there as well. Javis Austin, I think he was just itching to run that ball back.
I think these guys were just happy that it came out of the end zone this time. They got a chance to hit somebody.
It is a little bit disconcerting to run down there all the time and not get to do anything, and then all of a sudden somebody brings it out, and quite candidly, you're probably not running as hard as you thought you might should have.
Yeah, you start thinking to yourself that the coaches are setting this up so you can run some sprints, some extra sprints, but every now and then they do return one.
Marcus Outson on the sidelines. If you're going to run 80 yards,
hit somebody.
Get something for it, right?
That's my motto. If you're going to run 5 yards, look for somebody.
That's true. First and 10 from the 5 for Clemson. Now they're on the opposite side of the stadium. Streeter with the handoff to the second back through. That is Adams. Adams gets across the line of scrimmage. Bobby Rhodes with the tackle, number 49 for Florida State.
Florida State with a lot of 2s in there. Brian Malone, number 48. Billy Rhodes, number 43. Chris Hope at the secondary position.
Bobby Rhodes has really shown some character too, because he's played all 3 of the linebacker positions, and I know he'd like to have a home, a permanent home, but he's doing a good job of roaming around.
15 minutes to go here at Doak Campbell Stadium. What a homecoming it is for Florida State. Sweet music. 41-0 Seminoles leading Clemson with another 15 minutes to play. Significance this fourth quarter. Darryl, thanks so much. Appreciate it. All the best to you.
Thanks for having me.
See you.
Enjoyed myself. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Robert Urich, and I'd like to tell you about my alma mater. It's a place where the history of yesterday and the promise of tomorrow are inseparable. Through our windows, students can view the past and see the future. It's a place where the oldest buildings are renovated with the newest technologies, and students enjoy free access to the largest and most powerful electronic library ever known. It is the home of a partnership with a recognized world leader in distance learning, the British Open University, and a place that links our branch campuses in London, Florence, and Spain. Because our students are connected to learning, they understand the meaning of the historical inscription on our campus that reads, "The half of knowledge is to know where to find knowledge." See how students are finding it at Florida State University. Visit our website and click on the Connected to Learning icon. This is Florida State University. From here, everything is possible.
This year, the Florida Legislature directed the Public Service Commission to conduct a study of the fair and reasonable rate for local residential telephone service. As a part of the study, the Commission will conduct customer hearings throughout the state to hear your opinion on the affordability of telephone rates and the value of local telephone service. We encourage you to attend these hearings, as your input will be valuable in helping determine if changes are needed to advance competition. Please call this toll-free number to determine the hearing location nearest you.
Kid's got an arm. I know, I'm a scout. I got an eye for talent. I spotted these Kellys over at Big Ten Tires. They've got everything I look for in a tire, including long mileage. Going the distance means everything. See what I mean? I've discovered some pretty great names in my day. Like Kelly's from Big Ten Tires, and whoever that guy is.
We begin the fourth quarter of play. Florida State a 41-0 lead on Clemson. Clemson with the ball from the 7-yard line. Pitch to the near side. Oh, what a play! The Florida State defense. Leon Rackley with the tackle. The linebacker comes comes up, and Clemson has had no luck near the goal line, whether they're driving for an end zone or trying to get from outside of the shadow of their own end zone.
Every time Clemson has tried to run that naked option, Florida State has had good pursuit angles inside out. This time, just let the picture speak for itself.
Diamond Adams could get nowhere. As Rackley with the tackle. Just outstanding pursuit. 3 wide receivers in for Clemson. Schrader in the shotgun, and he is in his own end zone. 1 for 12 on 3rd down is Clemson. Incomplete, make it 1 for 13. Reggie Durden with the coverage for Florida State.
And again, Florida State's defense 3 and out.
At a time when Clemson did not want to go 3 and out.
Streeter from his own end zone. Reggie Durden on the coverage against Brian Walford. There, Durden then goes back to return the punt. Clemson's going to take a timeout. A little bit of confusion on their side.
That will be the second timeout they will burn in this second half. But you know, 41-0. I don't think they're going to need them as this fourth quarter rolls on.
Maybe not for the 2-minute drill, that's for sure.
The 11th punt of the game upcoming for Clemson when we return to Doak Campbell Stadium.
How come so many professional athletes wear copper bracelets? Hey, that's Chichi Rodriguez.
I think my energy band improves my golf game.
Now you too can have the Chichi Rodriguez Energy Band. It combines the power of copper with the harmonizing power of magnetics.
He really looks good too.
The Energy Band is beautifully crafted from solid copper, then electroplated in genuine 24-karat gold with a stunning white gold accent. Patent-pending magnets make it truly unique, and it's designed to comfortably fit your wrist. Copper and magnetic bracelets sell in catalogs for up to $150 and more. But the Chichi Rodriguez Energy Band is yours for only $19.95. Order yours now while supplies last.
That's being a winner.
To order, use your credit card and call 1-800-544-1116. That's 1-800-544-1116. Or send check or money order to the address on your screen. Call and order right now.
41-0, Florida State leading Clemson. We've just begun the fourth quarter. Kevin Laird, the punter for Clemson, deep in his own end zone. Reggie Durden back for the punt for Florida State.
Before we went to break, Clemson with some confusion. Here's defensive coordinator Reggie Herring for University of Clemson. He's a linebacker at Florida State. Came in as part of Bowden's first recruiting class along with myself. And along with Rick Stockstill, their receiver coach. Reggie now the defensive coordinator at Clemson. He and his wife Lisa have 2 children. He's coached at Auburn, at Oklahoma State, and a couple years at TCU. He's got a great football mind. And my college roommate, my freshman college roommate, me and Reg.
Not a happy homecoming for him.
Not at all. He enjoys coming down to Tallahassee, but certainly he would prefer to leave with the victory. Good memories down here for him. Great Florida State product in the Florida State Hall of Fame, inducted into the Florida State Hall of Fame in 1989.
Look at Laird from his own end zone. Durden will run up and field at the 35 and get a couple more yards before taken out of bounds. A 4-yard return for Durden. Darrell Crutchfield with the tackle for Clemson. Florida State, excellent field position. And a new quarterback comes on for Florida State, Tommy West. This is one forgettable game for Tommy. Marcus Outson comes on for Florida State. Sophomore out of Fort Walton High School. See what he has done this season.
Separated shoulder in spring practice. Did not participate in the Garnet Gold game. Has come back strong. Big kid. 6'2", 220 pounds. Out of the Panhandle area, Fort Walton area of Florida. Got 14:02 here in the fourth quarter. An opportunity maybe for 2 or 3 or 4 series to gain experience, get a little bit more of a feel for the game, and to prove and show what he can do.
No matter how much you practice during the week, there's nothing like getting that experience on a Saturday. Alton will roll out to the right. Looking downfield, he throws, and the pass is incomplete. Warrick's able to deflect the ball out of bounds.
Pass intended for Nick Franklin, the tight end. Of course, Florida State's tight ends have only caught 2 passes in 6 games.
Chris Jones, the inside linebacker, almost destined to be all ACC and an All-American candidate.
Flag on the play. The Zebras are moving it in FSU's favor. 15-yard personal foul infraction.
Just adding insult to injury for Clemson.
Marcus really does have the confidence of the teammates that surround him. Andrew's very well respected, very strong arm, and he's taken the playing behind the 26-year-old very well. He gets his reps, he gets his opportunities, he wants to improve.
Outson with the handoff to Laveranues Coles. Coles will reverse his field, come back to the near side. Outson delivers a block, and Coles gets inside the 20 to the 17-yard line. Raheem Abdullah with the tackle for Clemson.
Outson's not afraid to stick his hat in there. Rooster will put his helmet on somebody if he has to. Coles again running from the tailback position. Plays designed to go off tackle left. Laveranues is going to bring it back all the way to the offense's right, defense's left. And there you see Outson with a good block. Takes out DeMarco Fox and allows Laveranues to pick up a couple of 3 extra yards.
Total of 9-yard gain for Laveranues Coles. There's a look at Coles, junior out of Jacksonville. Just a single back behind Outson, and Florida State calls timeout.
Just didn't look right.
Florida State with a 41-0 lead on Clemson. 13:03 remains in this ball game.
Hi, I'm Winston Scott, and I've got a secret. It's nestled among rolling hills and towering pines, where Gothic archways for nearly a century and a half have welcomed young minds. It's where the spirit of service is measured against the spirit of history's heroes, and graduates go on to become governors, stars of Broadway, and even star-walking astronauts. This is Florida State University, my secret to success.
Is this your idea of conserving energy? This is ours. For energy conservation programs, call 1-888-TICO-820.
41-0, Florida State leads Clemson. Andrew Monaco along with Keith Jones and Tom Block. An equipment infraction by Florida State. It's a mandatory timeout. Chris Weinke, what a productive evening for the sophomore. Those are his numbers this evening. Once again, over 300 yards, 18 of 35, the career high. 4 touchdown passes for Weinke to 4 different receivers.
What's been remarkable, if you take his 6 game totals, you subtract the NC State game. Look at that, 52% completion, nearly 1,600 yards, 13 TDs, no picks.
0 picks.
What a difference a game makes.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, he's learned from that game though. You can't throw him out and it is a loss. You know, that is understood, but he has learned from that, and Florida State has adjusted. And as we touched off the top, Keith, more and more responsibility on Weinke, and it's going to be very important because there's still Georgia Tech and there's still Virginia to be played, and there's still Florida, so they're going to need that development of Weinke.
And without a doubt, the ability to control the offense and do all the things that you need to do in the repertoire is very important as you get farther down the season.
On a 2nd and 1, Outson with a keeper and a first down. Another first down for Florida State. 25th first down of the evening for the Seminoles.
With that poor first half outing, minus 17 yards rushing. Florida State now finally approaching almost 100 yards rushing here in the second half. Cheney getting almost 50% of that on that 41-yard touchdown run.
A. Trues Bell at the top, Robert Morgan at the bottom. Jermaine Stringer was in on the last play. He has come out. Hand off to Coles. Coles gets maybe a yard at the most. Raheem Abdullah, number 53 for Clemson, in on another tackle.
Abdullah has been most active this evening from his bandit position, number 53. Tall at 6'6", very fast. And you heard Darrell talking about during the third quarter, all of these Clemson linebackers very quick, very fast. Abdullah comes in from the right-hand side, just takes Laveranues' feet out from under him. Of course, on the other side, Florida State playing a lot of new people, a lot of people who don't see a lot of playing time. Principally Marcus Outson to get him some game experience.
And Stringer is up top. Morgan to the near side. Holds the lone setback with a couple of tight ends. Outson looking for the end zone. For Stringer, incomplete. It has been a long night for Antoine Edwards in that secondary, but he breaks up another pass.
Good coverage that time, but the one thing that Jeff Bowden will talk with Stringer about is Stringer should have run 1 or 2 more steps before he turned back to try to position himself. Let's see if we'll get a look at it here. It'd be on the tail end of it. By this time, he's probably already turned back to the ball, but he was just a little bit short. He needs to run ahead or run forward 1 or 2 more steps before he turns back to the ball, and he'd be right there on the underthrow instead of giving Antoine Edwards the opportunity to come over and take it away at the highest point.
3rd and 10. Outson rolls to the left. Flags fly. Marcus inside the 10, near the first down. Inside the 6-yard line. He had to get across the 5. A flag is down at the 20-yard line.
In the offensive holding area, especially when you have a mobile quarterback and you start flushing out of the pocket. You got linemen who have defensive linemen getting by them, and they'll grab them and lurch at them or try to hook them. And oftentimes, as we see in this example, you get the hanky. Florida State relatively penalty free, at least by comparison tonight, averaging about 10 or 11 penalties per game coming into this evening.
It is holding on the offense. Outson this season on the ground, picking up the 28 yards on 8 carries.
Marcus more mobile than Chris in terms of running. Chris, of course, doing a great job of being mobile in the pocket. Outson will beat him in a foot race and certainly is more adept at the rollouts and the waggles.
And really overall tonight, we saw Weinke more in the pocket. Last week against Miami was really rolling outside. Just what is amazing about Weinke is the way he can throw off balance or on the quote-unquote wrong foot.
Tremendous arm strength.
Florida State still has to get across the 5. Let's see how much Laveranues Coles can get. He'll get across the 15 to the 13-yard line. 17-yard gain for Coles. That'll set up 4th down. Crutchfield with the tackle for Clemson, number 30.
Florida State staying on the ground. And once again, we'll probably see Sebastian. Good action that Laveranues takes out to the outside, makes a good cut past the first wave, and then just puts his head down, splits defenders, and gets it into position. Here it is coming right at you. Good speed to run around the first wave and then just tuck it in, get all you can.
Janikowski has hit field goals of 53 and 42 yards, this from 31. He missed it, just the 4th miss of the season as he goes wide on the attempt.
And I think oftentimes Sebastian is so good that when he gets inside 40, he probably loses just a little bit of mental concentration, and that'll come with continued experience.
Sometimes when kickers kick the same way, whether it's 20 yards or 50 yards, an extra point, 30-yard field goal, they'll give that same leg swing so they don't fall into any kind of a rut. 41-0 Florida State.
Kicking such a mental game. The kickers that I played with here, Ron Stark and Billy Capice, were different individuals, great individuals, but different individuals. And the life of a kicker is a strange life. There's no doubt about it.
Kickers are a different breed.
Streeter dislocated, as you see him there talking on the sidelines. He actually dislocated his finger last week in the Maryland game. He's talking to Rick Stockstill with a headset on, who I mentioned earlier. Rick was a quarterback here at Florida State in 80 and 81. Actually came in 77, was redshirted. Quarterbacked us in the 1981 Orange Bowl. Did a great job and is a great Florida State alumni.
Don't miss the Bobby Bowden Show, Sundays at 12:30 p.m. right here on Sunshine. Join Coach Bowden. He'll review this game as he does each week and looks ahead at the Noles' upcoming opponents. The Bobby Bowden Show, Sundays at 12:30 on Sunshine Network.
The offensive coordinator for Clemson, by the way, Andrew, is not unfamiliar to Florida State faithful. He was a quarterback at LSU, Steve Ensminger, who played there 76 to 79. Florida State went out there in 79, the first of 5 trips in a row, and Ensminger was the quarterback. Florida State, the team I played on my junior year, successful coming out with a 27-16 win. So a lot of connectivity here in the South with all these coaches and former players.
Clemson down 41-0, and with the ball, 10:23 remaining here in the fourth. Pitch to the outside. Diamond Adams. Adams will not get back to the line of scrimmage. Again, that terrific coverage. Sean Key is there with the tackle. Deion Humphrey was there as well. And Adams will lose a yard.
Homecoming crowd beginning to thin out a little bit. The students were the first to leave. The alumni hang around for a while. There you see Sean Key, the junior, 6'1", 190-pounder. 27 tackles coming into the night. He and Derek Gibson and Gene June rotate at that rover position.
Secondary that has 6 interceptions this year. And off to Adams. Adams met at the line of scrimmage, and he'll fall. He'll regain the line of scrimmage and maybe pick up 1 more yard. We'll bring up a 3rd and long.
Clemson pretty well content to keep the ball on the ground and hope the clock speeds up. We've got about 9.5 minutes left here in the fourth quarter. There's not a lot you can do in this particular situation, Andrew. You're down 41-0. You've been shut down on completely in the second half. Clemson had about 80 yards, 90 yards, whatever it was, the total offense. They've now sitting unofficially at 104. This is the time where you don't want to embarrass yourself. Just want to get out of here.
1 of 13 on 3rd down is Clemson. Streeter looks to the right, throws, nearly intercepted by the Seminoles' Tommy Polley, who has been outstanding this evening.
Polley with his first pick last week against Miami on a jump ball for the former basketball star out of Baltimore, Maryland. He jumps right in front of this one. Not successful wrestling it away. Here it is coming right at you. Steps right in front of the receiver, has it right in his hands, and just lets it get away. Not happy.
Mario Edwards was also there on the coverage for Florida State. Durden calls for the fair catch at the 46-yard line as he receives the punt from Kevin Laird, and that's where Florida State will start their drive ahead 41-0. 8:46 remaining in this fourth quarter. What has been a very happy homecoming for the Seminoles. Now, don't blame me if I jinx this, okay? Because I don't want to take any blame. October 18th of last year, that was Florida State's last shutout, 38-0. Well on their way this evening.
Of course, as we mentioned a couple of 3 different times, in the last 3 contests against Clemson here in Doak Campbell, 2 shutouts and a field goal.
1st and 10 for the Seminoles just across the 45-yard line. Outson with the football. He keeps as he comes to the near side across midfield to the 49-yard line. Keith Adams with the tackle. And Outson, like Laveranues Coles, loses a shoe.
That's a designed rollout keep. Once Marcus gets turned back around, he tucks that ball underneath his arm and follows the pulling guard. Here's another look at it. Goes left, comes back right. See, he doesn't even have it in his throwing hand. That's a good sign that the quarterback's keeping it on the ground.
Senior Jason Floyd is in for Florida State at wide receiver. Pitch. Skaggs gets close to the 45-yard line and near a 1st down. He will be shy. Robert Carswell with the tackle for Clemson. They'll bring up a 3rd and short.
Raymont, Coach Bowden was talking about during the game, Raymont had some good carries in the Miami game and then laid the ball on the ground, fumbled, and therefore he was pulled out. Getting some additional playing time now. Good look at number 89 there. Jason Floyd, wide receiver out of Trenton, Florida. Seeing his first significant playing time of the 98 season as well.
Florida State, after the negative yards in the first half, now doubling up Clemson. Outson heading for the first down, but flags flew in the middle of that play. And Outson not happy with Robert Carswell after that attempt at a first down.
It's a difficult situation for the Florida State offensive coaches because you don't want to really throw the ball downfield, but you'd really like for Marcus to get the opportunity to throw the ball in some game situations.
Dead ball, false start on the offense.
Legal procedure.
5 yards, still third down.
Florida State will redo third down.
So instead of the
or a do-over, we'll do a do-over.
How about a mulligan? I'm used to that.
I don't give. Coach Bowden might give me some, but nobody else gives me any.
I promise to give you some next time we're on the course. Many as you want. Instead of a 3rd and 2, it brings up 3rd and 7. Maybe an opportunity here to try to get that first down through the air. Florida State has to get across the 45-yard line. Complete to Floyd. The first down, and the drive continues. Jason Floyd with the reception, and the first down as the drive keeps on for Florida State.
Jason, a great story. He's out of Trenton, Florida, a small little town in the north central part of the state. He's a senior, and Andrew, 5'10", 175-pound senior. That's his first career catch of his Florida State time.
Morgan had his first catch earlier in this game. The first catch for Jason. Big hole, big gap inside the 20, the 15-yard line. Antoine Edwards with the tackle, but the big gain by William McCray.
McCray, the blocking back, along with Lamar Glenn, one of the captains. All they do every day in practice, most of the time during games, Andrew, is just run up there and hit linebackers and defensive linemen. This time McCray gets a hole that a Mack truck could go through, and he puts that 6-foot, 222-pound frame into overdrive, and away he goes. Had 4 carries for 12 yards prior to this carry.
32-yard gain.
Tripled his output.
Those were the numbers before that carry by McCray. 32-yard gain. Outson sprints to the left. It's a race to the end zone, but he'll be knocked out of bounds. We'll head downstairs. Tom Block.
Andrew, I got a guy with me that would love to be out there right now. Lamont Green, who, of course, has a bad elbow. A shutout going. I know you'd like to be a part of this.
Yeah, I would, but the guy's doing fine without me. 41-0, be our first shutout of the year. So if we can hold on these last 5 minutes, it'll be nice.
How would you grade Tommy Polley and the rest of the linebacking core after the shuffle this week?
Well, they play well for guys that are playing 2 and 3 different positions. It takes a while to start holding a position down fairly well, but with all the shuffling they're doing, they're playing great right now.
And importantly, regarding your health, when can we see you back in the pads out on the field?
You'll probably see me suited up again against the Cavaliers here in Virginia.
Well, good luck on your return, Lamont.
Thanks.
Lamont Green, senior linebacker from Miami, hoping to get back in time for that big matchup with Virginia coming up in just a couple of weeks. Andrew?
Thank you, Tom. McCray takes it near the goal line. I'll tell you what, when you lose your leading tackler and everybody else stepped up, it's just what Florida State wanted to see. All the linebackers, all the changes, really as a collective group, they've all stepped up this evening.
And it can be a blessing in disguise, Andrew, because all the other kids look around and they know that the leader is not there. So therefore, each of them have to do their part. Get another look here at the fullback play up the middle. Good footwork by McCray as he gets downfield. Chances are real good. We've got a Clemson player that's down that's being attended to. Chances are real good that McCray will probably get the ball just as many times as it takes him to get into the goal line if they convert this first down.
Next week in the ACC, North Carolina and Wake Forest. That's the early game on a Saturday. Clemson then heads to Duke, giving NC State a scare. NC State and Virginia, and the Florida State Seminoles and Georgia Tech from Atlanta.
Of course, Virginia and Georgia Tech in a little bit of a shootout this evening as well.
Georgia Tech has really come on. Quarterback Joe Hamilton. They will rise in the ratings. Not many people gave Georgia Tech a lot of notoriety before the season. But they have really played well, and on national TV on a Thursday night game, they really beat up North Carolina. And that really focused some attention on the Yellow Jackets. 3rd and short. Outson to McCray. I'm not sure he got it. Very close to the first down. It's going to depend on the mark. Harold Means, number 45 for Clemson, in on that tackle along with, well, who else? Raheem Abdullah.
Okay, we've called Chris Jones several times. We've called O.J. Childers a lesser number of times, but he's been effectively blocked. But we've called Abdullah a lot. Watch number 53 in white. He'll come right in there in the last minute, just turn William back around. And you can clearly see as you look down the line of scrimmage that they didn't get to the down marker. Florida State will go for it on 4th.
Ryan Sprague comes in as a tight end for Florida State. Skaggs is the lone back. Outson over the top. Did he get in? Yes, he did. Touchdown, Florida State. Marcus Outson with the plunge.
There's a new and different athletic play from the quarterback. Thompson does a great job of actually stalling at the line of scrimmage, letting the offensive lineman engage, and then jumps over with the ball extended. Because remember, only the ball has to break the plane. Watch him pause just a second and then jump. Get that ball over and clearly touchdown Florida State.
Sebastian boots the extra point through. And a 48-0 lead for Florida State. Outson from 2 yards out gets the touchdown. Florida State's big on top of Clemson. 48-0. Still 4:39 left here in the 4th.
Every day, outdoor.
Well, he's only appeared in that 4th quarter, but you look, he's got the Band-Aid underneath the chin, but it's all worth it when you get the touchdown, as Outson did.
What that means is that somebody put a helmet up underneath that chin strap.
That may have been earlier. Remember on the play that the illegal procedure, that may have been Keith Adams may have gotten him underneath. What a way to cap that drive. Somehow the pain just not as severe when you get into the end zone. Antoine Edwards and Javis Austin deep for Clemson. Edwards will field at the 1. He'll bobble it. It's into the end zone. Live ball. Edwards has to come out. Can't even get to the 10-yard line.
Wheels have fallen off. Do not trip over the low ones. Here's another look at the Outson plunge. Probably not something you want to coach too often from 2 yards out. That ball fully exposed with Marcus going over the top and arms extended. But effective this time, and he scores his first career Florida State touchdown.
Clemson did not seem to stack the line as you would expect on such a short running play. I wonder if they were worried that Florida State was going to run and kind of hedge there, and Outson took full advantage. Clemson looking for any kind of momentum in the latter part of this game to take into next week. It's got to be extremely disappointing for the Tigers after the first ACC victory a season ago. Reynolds with the tackle for Florida State. They got the win over Maryland last week. Thought they could bring some momentum into this game. And really, Florida State shut down that momentum.
They played very well against Maryland. As we reviewed the tapes and looked at some things that they had done, and we're trying to examine that 95 offense or the spread offense. Streeter and company had a good game plan and a good performance against Maryland, but it has not manifested itself tonight.
Hand off to Diamond Adams, who has seen a lot of carries in this second half, in the latter part of this second half. Bradley Jennings with the tackle, number 44 for Florida State. Adams gets the first down.
Now, Darrell Bush were still up here with us. One of the things he'd be thinking about and he'd be talking about right now is this Florida State defense that cannot give up a big play. Now your thought process becomes the shutout. Do anything in the world, everything possible, to protect this 48-zip shutout.
No, that is on their minds as a defense collectively. Under 3.5 minutes to play. Streeter with the quick slant is complete. Near the first down, the gang tackle. Todd Fryer, one of the first men there, as Justin Watts makes the catch, just his 3rd catch of the season. Another first down for Clemson. They had 3 first downs before this drive. They picked up back-to-back first downs.
See Watts as he makes his way off the field. He's a sophomore, 6 foot, 190 pounds, out of Florence, South Carolina. Again, as you mentioned, Clemson looking to develop a little bit of momentum, something we can carry up to Duke next weekend.
Inside handoff to Adams. Adams will hit to the outside before he is cut down. Reggie Durden is there to take Adams off his feet.
A lot of twos in there right now. John Thompson, number 44. Reggie Durden, number 1. A lot of 3 and 4 deep players now getting an opportunity to see some playing time.
Adams picks up just a little more than 3. Make a 2nd and 7 from the 34-yard line. Staying with the 3 wide receivers is Clemson. And from the shotgun, Streeter. 2:10 remaining in the 4th. Streeter rolls to his right. Incomplete pass for Mal Lawyer, who has not gotten off in this game. The Florida State defense has done a job on number 84, Mal Lawyer.
Really has, and Lawyer that time made a little bit of an inside move and was kind of decoying in order to sprint back outside, and Reggie Durden had him one-on-one, and Reggie, very disciplined, stayed right with him, kept his eyes on him, didn't take him off, and was able to run right with Lawyer as he went outside for the errant pass.
Junior, who came in with the most catches, tied with Marcus Martin before play. Chris Walker in at defensive end for Florida State. 3rd and 7. Streeter down the field, almost intercepted. Theon Rackley nearly with the pick.
Seen a couple of 3 times Florida State linebackers with their hands on the ball. That time Theon not able to bring it down. Tommy Pauly prior to that, and I believe Rackley even in the first half had one. It kind of bounced off of the 5 right there on his chest. Not a good throw by Streeter, threw right into coverage. There's Theon with his hands up and ball down.
Well, I read that all the way. Did Theon Rackley. Kevin Laird once again on the punt for Clemson. Reggie Durden is deep. He'll get a chance to return. Fields at the 21. Comes to the near side. Now cuts back up the middle. Durden will get 9 yards on the return before Darius Rapley tackles him for Clemson. So 1:48 remains in this 4th quarter. Bobby Bowden's Florida State Seminoles, they head towards homecoming victory number 23 in a row. Bobby has never lost on homecoming.
See the Florida State defense nearing, if they hold, their season low in defense. Of course, Florida State number 1 in the ACC, number 3 in the country in total defense coming into the contest.
That defense,
Coach
Bobby Bowden,
214th career win at Florida State. His 287th career win, moving up on number 300.
Alton with a play. Clemson on defense. Jason Holloman, redshirt sophomore, comes up with the tackle. Now it's just a matter of the final minute and a half running out. Capping homecoming 1998.
Florida State with a very dominant victory tonight, Andrew. I mean, they got off with a big play, a turnover that led to their first score. A little bit of some downtime in the 2nd quarter, but right after the half, Florida State really came out and established some rhythm offensively in the 3rd quarter. And of course, as the graphic said, what can you say about this awesome defense? 129 yards total yardage given up tonight.
Clemson had been outscored a 108-3 in the last 3 games here at Doak Campbell. Now make it 156-3 in the last 4 games between these 2 schools at Doak Campbell Stadium. Florida State will now be unbeaten in the last 37 games here at home. Unbeaten in the ACC. 26 Atlantic Coast Conference opponents have come in to Doak Campbell Stadium, and all 26 have left with a loss.
Coach Bowden to go to 8-2 versus Clemson. Winningest all-time bowl coach, 16-4-1, and second winningest, tied with Bear Bryant for second in all-time bowl career wins.
Final play of the game. The handoff to Skaggs. That will do it as the clock will tick. We head to all zeros. And a big zero on that scoreboard is Bobby Bowden and Florida State get the shutouts. 48-0. The shutout of Tommy West and the Clemson Tigers. Florida State moves to 6-1 on the season. Clemson falls to 2-5. Bowden and West shake hands at midfield. All Noles this evening.
Has become a very routine and comfortable sight. Sergeant Billy Smith there escorting Coach Bowden. It's Rob Wilson, the Sports Information Director for Florida State, there on Bobby's right, your left as you look at it.
Bobby Bowden heads over. He'll talk to our Tom Block. Tom?
Thanks, Andrew. Coach, I know at halftime you were upset about the running game, and during the halftime speech you wanted to get the running game going and have the defense get a shutout. You got those two objectives accomplished.
Well, I really did. I was, I was hoping we could run better. They were just stuffing our run and killing our run. But we finally got it going, but I think they were kind of tired about that time.
What is it about Clemson here in Tallahassee? You guys really have just owned them since joining the ACC.
Yeah, I don't know. And that's really a pretty good darn defense out there, by the way. I just think we might be beginning to put it together. That's what I hope.
Chris's performance, 4 touchdowns, another game without an interception.
That's great. He's just coming along beautifully.
What were your thoughts on the defense, the linebacker shuffle there, Polly and Allen, some of the guys in there? Obviously, they got a shutout, so it wasn't too bad.
They did a super job with Janikowski kicking off into the end zone and them getting the ball on the 20. They just simply could not get it out of their own territory.
Congratulations on another homecoming victory. Still unbeaten here at FSU.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. Thank you very much.
Bobby Bowden wins another one on home.
Forgotten. We just folded. That's pretty much what happened. You know.
After the fumble, the Noles are left with excellent field position and trick the Yellow Jackets on the reverse and get the score.
Warrick to the 10, 5, touchdown, FSU! Pete Warrick put a hip wiggle on a linebacker.
Georgia Tech fights back and in 2 plays gets a first down. The Seminole defense steps it up and holds Georgia Tech to little yardage. With 3:20 left in the game, the Noles are pumped, knowing that they have destroyed Georgia Tech's winning streak. In just 2 plays, Laveranues Coles rushes for 78 yards and a Seminole touchdown.
40 to the 35 to the 30. Coles to the 25 to the 20. 15, 10, 5. Touchdown. Florida State all the way.
With all hope gone, Georgia Tech tries to pull out all strings by trying to force the ball upfield. After 3 complete passes, Georgia Tech fumbles, and the Seminoles recover at their own 23. The Yellow Jackets' hopes are shattered, and their rank of number 3 in turnovers is also gone. With 1:05 left, the Noles keep the ball on the ground and just run out the clock for the victory.
For your best golfing experience, come out and visit Seminole Golf Course.
Had not lost at home since Tom Osborne's days, 1991, September of that year, but the Huskers had to worry about Ricky. First quarter, Williams from the Longhorn 12 bust 38 yards through the hole for a first down. They had 150 yards on the day. Texas up 10-0 after the drive. Texas now down 16-13 late in the 4th, 3rd and goal from the 2. Major Applewhite under pressure, looks to the end zone. Wayne McGarrity's there for the diving catch. Applewhite very composed in this game, and Texas is up 20-16. That would be the final. A big upset. Williams rushes for 150 yards, the most for an opponent against the Huskers since Barry Sanders in 1988. And Texas A&M, Nebraska's other loss this season, beat Sanders' old team, Oklahoma State, 17-6. Chris Taylor caught a TD pass, set up another score with a long kickoff return in this one. Number 1 in that BCS, UCLA celebrating homecoming against 28.5-point underdog Stanford. Cade McNown and the Bruins are down by 3 in the 4th. First and goal from the 8. Deshaun Foster takes it in the side for the score. UCLA's first lead of the game, 28-24. Stanford's next possession, 1st and 10. Todd Husek hits Jeff Allen for the go-ahead touchdown. Take another look. He's stripped. Marcus Anderson strips Allen before the score. Cade McNown's Bruins hang on for a win, 28-24, thanks to 2 fourth-quarter TDs. The Bruins have won 17 straight, the longest win streak in the land. And Arizona beats higher-ranked Oregon 38-3. The Wildcats scored touchdowns on their first 4 possessions of the second half. So take a look at this. ESPN USA Today Top 25 poll. Ohio State, 54 first-place votes, remains number 1. K-State is up to number 2. So the BCS didn't respect the coach's opinion of UCLA. Look at what the coaches think this week. The Bruins dropped to number 4 after the squeaker. To the rounding out the top 10, Wisconsin did not play this weekend, but they benefit from Nebraska's loss. Arkansas, undefeated, is up to number 10. Finally, past the top 10 in Nebraska sighting, the Huskers fall to number 15. Last time Nebraska was ranked so low, September 27th of 1992. Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, both winners leap up 3 spots each. 16 through 20, undefeated Tulane up 2 spots. Georgia down 7 after a loss to the Florida Gators in the SEC. And the final 5 have a new member. Texas cracks the poll after beating Nebraska. West Virginia, a loser against Virginia Tech yesterday, falls out of the top 25. Now for the new Bowl Championship Series poll, tune in to ESPN Radio, log on to ESPN.com or ESPN News at 3 Eastern tomorrow, or watch SportsCenter 5:45 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night for the new BC.